Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of Inspired Action, where we dive into the most pressing leadership challenges and hope to inspire you to take a more coach-centered and people-focused approach to leadership. I'm your host, Kyle Pertuis, and it's time to get started with our three amazing guests for today. Welcome back, everybody, to Inspired Action, the Leadership Forecast. I'm your host, Kyle Pertuis, and I'm here with three amazing guests today to answer this question. How do you get your drive back when you feel tired, stressed, or unmotivated? Before we get started, I'd love to do a quick intro to our three guests today. First and foremost, Karen Baird, bringing over 20 years of experience in marketing and communications and talent development services across industry. She claims her passion on career development, leading change management, and digital transformation initiatives. She serves on the Board of ATD as VP of Marketing and Communications for the Nashville Chapter and the Director of Programs for the San Antonio Chapter. Kyle Pung, having earned his MBA with an emphasis in strategic management from Davenport University, Kyle experienced outside sales and experienced outside sales rep and account manager with a history of exceeding goals, currently serving as account manager with Pluene Service Company up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Desiree Perez helps high impact leaders and organizations cut through complexity, align around what matters, and lead with both precision and heart. Whether you're scaling, reinventing, or navigating change, she will bring structure and insight in a strategic partnership to help you take it to the next level. Currently serving as VP of Business Operations and Customer Experience at Coactive Training Institute, she is passionate about bold, clear, and human-centered leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here today. Karen, you drew the short straw, which is, you get to speak your mind first. So we're going to start with you. And the question is, how do you get your drive back when you feel tired, stressed, or unmotivated?
Thank you. I love being first because then I get to say what I want to say. So it's awesome. Thank you so much for having me here today, Kyle. So a number of years ago, I was learning about what is motivation and how do you get it? Is it something that just exists and you have a bucket full and you empty it out and then you just get more magically? So the answer to that is no, actually. And so I love reading books and I love a show and tell. So I want to mention The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. This is a fairly old book, but one of the things he talks about right away is that action creates motivation. So it's taking small steps that build on each other. I also have my friend Atomic Habits by James Clear, who expanded on that idea of you have to build it somehow. It doesn't just come, we're not all allocated a measure of motivation. And then once you run out, so you have to take those small action steps over time and that builds your motivation. So it's celebrating small wins. So this has been really timely for me right now. I'm working on my first presentation for a professional conference at the ATD San Antonio Leaps Conference. Very excited about my topic. But it's a big lift, writing, researching, and designing and overthinking a little bit. So, what that small action looks like for me when I'm feeling very tired and stressed is, okay, maybe I just commit to one slide, to polishing that one slide, and that builds on the momentum for doing the next slide and the next. So that's one way that I like to think about the motivation piece. And then when it comes to feeling tired and stressed, I just like to listen to my body. If I'm tired, I'm a morning person. So once I hit that 8 p.m., it's like, you know what, nothing else good is going to come for me. I'd rather go to bed, be refreshed, and wake up at 5 a.m. and continue working.
Yeah.
So that's something I like to be aware of, my mind too. It's like I can only give so much. And to kind of round all this out, how I sort of refill my cup, when I'm stressed. I love connection with people, with friends, colleagues, clients. It reminds me why I'm doing the work I'm doing. And when I need that bit of inspiration to be reminded, hey, this is why I'm here, I get inspired by that. So it kind of builds up that energy and the focus that I have, and I can keep chugging right along. So that's how
I love it.
yeah, thank you.
So many great little nuggets, right? I mean, it's like motivation isn't like some magic spark. It's the fire, right? That you're feeding with these little things, right? When you think about building a fire, it's the little things that add to it until it grows big. I love it. Kyle, let's jump over to you. What would you add to that question? How do you get your drive back when you feel tired, stressed, or unmotivated?
Yeah, absolutely. And Karen, thank you so much. Those are all great snippets, and a few of them tie right into what I do as well. Really having that understanding of yourself and your body and what you're feeling, and is this motivation? Is this stress? Am I tired? And being able to distinguish between those is hugely helpful and important for me, and something I've really um, try to identify and work with knowing myself better on. So having that baseline of what it is that's stressing you out or causing the lack of motivation, and taking action from there. But to keep it up, ensuring that I have small, healthy anchoring habits that I'm able to do as part of my daily motivation or as part of my daily routine. A morning workout, an evening walk, little fun things that are around the house that I enjoy doing. Those habits, while they help anchor me and provide that consistent motivation, they'll help ensure I don't burn myself out by depriving myself of these things I really enjoy doing. Um, Being able to get outside, have small wins, small actions. I've really adopted the philosophy, if it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. And those small wins and small actions, it always snowballs into something bigger. Being able to consistently have and make healthy choices in regards to eating the right foods, getting exercise, is really, really important for me too. I've gotten to the point where I can identify if I have a big barbecue lunch, I'm done for the rest of the day, or something really high in sugar. I don't do well with that. So really knowing how different things affect me has been hugely important or hugely impactful, and just making sure I don't get to that point. When I do get to that point, getting outside, getting taking a break, unplugging, shutting things down, or just going for a walk around the office is a really, really good reset for me as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, Kyle. And I'm starting to hear a little bit of a trend here about how important personal awareness is in this particular topic, right? And so with that, I'm going to toss it on over to Desiree Perez, who I know has done a lot of work around this particular topic. So Desiree, how do you get your drive back when you feel tired, stressed, and unmotivated?
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me. And so many great things have already been mentioned. So um, I'm going to give sort of a very personal perspective to this. And to Kyle's point, I've done a lot of work around my own personal awareness, and I've always been sort of quote unquote considered the high performer. I worked in aviation for 20 years. It's like high intensity environment, go, 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 go. And I never ever allowed myself to rest, or feel tired, or just push through any type of discomfort when I felt unmotivated, or just whatever the case may be. And so through learning that about myself and the drive that I have internally, I then learned to actually incorporate rest and being okay with the moments where I feel unmotivated, that they're part of the human experience. So for me personally, some of the things that I'm doing is one, I work out every day. That's sort of the thing to train my mind that even when I feel unmotivated, even when I don't feel like doing something, I'm still doing it. And even if it's in a more restful way, right? It might be just a stretching or just some type of movement. So that's helped me. And then additionally to that, really accounting for rest. So there's days where I'm like, okay, I can feel myself. I've reached the limit. I'm actually unplugging. I'm not doing anything else, and that's been really helpful for me. So to be able to bounce back and come back, and ultimately from a motivation standpoint. Something that I've learned over the years is that it's all about our mindset and how we think about things, right? And so when we're unmotivated, it's a human experience. It's a normal human experience. We all feel it. We all have those moments, accepting it for what it is. But then how do I move through it without getting stuck in it? And so that's all about how what's my perspective on the whole thing, whatever the case may be, whatever I'm unmotivated about, and where can I find the opportunity in that to make it motivating again? Where can I find that spark again? Is there something I haven't looked at yet? Something I haven't tried to pursue yet? A conversation that I haven't had yet? So that changing my perception and my mindset around it then makes me feel differently about it, about the situation, and then I can go and be hopefully motivated again. But that's how I personally deal with that.
I think it's so cool listening to you guys talk about tired, fatigued, stressed, not motivated, no drive, whatever it is, it's not a signal to push harder, right? It's not like, oh, you just got to power through. It's a signal to kind of realign, right? To plug back into purpose. Karen was talking about it, or connecting with people. All of you really talked about taking one small, intentional, deliberate action that just moves you a little bit further. And so I think what's interesting is once you move, momentum starts to show up, right? And momentum is the fuel that turns exhaustion into inspired action. All right, Kyle, what do you got? Throw it in the mix.
Just on Desiree's point too, and Karen had mentioned it as well, the discipline to the motivation, especially with the working out and some of the other stuff, the discipline is always, for me, trumps the motivation, because it can be very fleeting. But if I know that I'm working out every single morning, or I'm doing this tasking at this time, relying on falling back onto those discipline and those good habits that are formed has been great for me too. And I meant to mention that with Karen, your book there as well.
Yeah, great references, Karen. Here's a question, and we can go in whatever you guys want. So if this sparks somebody that wants to jump in, but here's what I'm curious about. How do you know the difference between needing to push through versus needing to step back? I mean, you guys are all high performers. Kyle probably a little earlier in his career than the rest of us, but man, how do we know? How do we determine that we need to push more, or this is when I really need to step away?
Well, I was thinking I really wanted to piggyback on what Desiree was saying. I love what she said about the human condition, right? It's the human experience to be tired, to be lacking motivation, to struggle, right? To feel overwhelmed, and how much value there is to acknowledge that and to accept it. So I think part of that is, to answer your question, Kyle, it's having that self-awareness of like, okay, for me, it's a prioritization thing. So I'll be honest, as I'm putting together this presentation, I've fought more against myself than anything else. There's time, there's prioritization. I'm battling my imposter monster every single day that I'm doing this. And like, this is taking too much time. Like, can I just get past this part of the process? It's so exhausting. And I'm having to constantly think about, okay, I have limited time, right? Like I have so much time to do this whole thing. I have to simplify. Maybe I have to make a choice. Okay, I wanted to do this complicated thing. Nope, I don't have time for that. And to be okay with accepting that I might have to make that change. The other thing I was thinking about is, I'm someone, it sounds like we're all very high performer, very driven, to be more conscious about when I'm saying no and when I'm saying yes to something, because if I say yes to everything, I'm human. I'm not going to have the capacity to do everything to the degree that I would like to do. So I think it's, again, going back to that self-awareness piece, but it's kind of reassessing, prioritizing what is it you actually want to accomplish and what do you have time to do? And you might have to let some things go.
Yeah. Just yesterday, somebody said to me, sometimes you got to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. And I thought that was really, really on point. Cool. Thanks, Karen.
Yeah,
Kyle or Desiree, go for it.
I think I would add to that. For me, my very personal experience in this is that if I feel myself being unmotivated over several days or in several instances around the same thing, then for me that's the trigger point where I gotta go like, okay, first off, I gotta rest. Secondly, I gotta look at what's happening here. Why am I unmotivated by this? Is it out of alignment? Is it not really what I'm interested in doing? I get in work, we always do things that we're not fully interested in doing. That's part of the thing. But if that becomes a larger theme, then we have to sort of look at that, take some time and look at that. And then other times where I know like there's like an important deliverable, or I just got to push through and I got to deliver that, and I will do that. And then after that, I will reward myself with the ice cream that Kyle doesn't have, or rest. So yeah, so that's my way of sort of assessing what's the right thing for me to do.
Yeah. And Desiree, that I think the way you frame that is that puts it in more of a choice perspective, right? I mean, if something's important to us and we're prioritizing it and it's 8:00 at night, but we know that's not our maybe our prime working time, but it's important to finish, then you make the choice. Say, you know what, I'm going to lean into this a little bit. And sometimes that alone, just by giving yourself permission to lean into it instead of it being a have to, is enough spark to drive you that next 30 minutes, hour, whatever it's going to take.
Yeah, it goes back around the framing, the perspective that we created for ourselves, right? The have to, the should, the I can't say no, all of those things are restrictive to ourselves. So what's the choice that I have? Because we always have a choice, whether we believe we do or don't. Sometimes inaction is also a choice that we're making.
Yeah, so true. I love it. Kyle, what would you add, man?
Honestly, I don't think there's much I could add to both of those. And really for me, it's just been from experience. When I get to that point, I feel like I've hit the wall in the past before with saying yes to so many things that it just became so overwhelming to do anything with that, because there's just so many balls in the air. But really saying no and allowing the opportunity for you to have the opportunity to say yes to other better things has been a huge shift in my perspective. I was always a say yes to everything. And then what Desiree said, that mindset shift as well of, prioritizing have to, should, and, what is the outcome if I don't do this? I don't have a good presentation tomorrow for a client, or, is that acceptable? Probably not. So there are choices, but being able to prioritize and just really knowing, do I just need to give myself some like deep rest, a quick meditation? What can I do to recharge to push through this?
Yeah, I love that. Such good input. And you said exactly what I was thinking, Kyle. It's kind of funny. People use the analogy of a cell phone, right? You don't recharge a cell phone by scrolling faster or pushing the buttons harder, right? We got to plug in. And that's what people need. We need to plug into rest. We need to plug into our awareness around what our body or our mind needs in the moment so that we can prepare to go back to work, right? Thank you guys so much. That's all the time we have for now. Be sure to join us every Thursday on LinkedIn for a new edition of Inspired Action, and anytime on our YouTube channel here at MindFit Coaching. Have a great day. That's a wrap for another edition of Inspired Action, the Leadership Forecast. We're so grateful for our guests today and the impact they're making with the work they do. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel to watch the longer version of this episode, and be sure to like, comment, connect with, and follow me and each of our guests. You'll find all of our links in the caption of this video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in every Thursday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern for new episodes.